Hey friends, it is Lane with Tim's Nation. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about the Adeptus Custodes list that I'm bringing into DJ's Grey Knights today. He wanted to bring the Emperor's Bestest, but I decided to bring the Emperor's Betterest, the Bestest, even better than the Grey Knights. So listen, I think competitively, Lions of the Emperor is probably the best attachment, but we've seen everybody seems to be running Lions of the Emperor. And to be honest, the +1 to wound is super strong. However, I'm going to run Solar Spearhead today because I'm going to run some big robots. I didn't want to just run the most meta thing. And Solar Spearhead was hot for a good minute when that came out, but then everybody just seems to have ignored it for Lions of the Emperor. So I feel bad that everybody put Solar Spearhead in the corner. So, man, I'm bringing them out of the corner. We'll play and have a little bit of fun with them. The main reason, of course, now I am thoroughly addicted to driving Landraiders through walls and disembarking hard-hitting units after we have done that. I've been doing that with my Death Guard. I'm playing in a GT this weekend at Battlegrounds, the board games, and I'll be doing that with my Death Guard in Mortarian's Hammer. A bunch of Death Shroud inside of a Landraider, and they can drive through walls. Well, in this detachment, the Custodes have a stratagem in Solar Spearhead where I can drive a vehicle through a wall. So I'm taking a Landraider. No, I don't have a shiny golden Landraider. The Custodes are borrowing one from the Death Watch. So we're gonna run a Landraider. It's a regular Landraider with las cannons. It's funny, I don't have the las cannons built for my Landraiders. I have 2 Landraiders for my Death Watch for my Marines, and I can swap out to either the Crusader or the Bolters or the Redeemer with the Flamers. I don't have the las cannon very built. So yeah, we've got a Death Watch. It's not exactly WYSIWYG here. It is Custodes only have access to the one Landraider with the las cannons, the base model. But it's kind of nice in Custodes. It's still 240 points, but this Landraider now hits on 2s because it's Custodes Landraider. So it does benefit from the Custodes weapons and ballistic skill of 2+. So it should hit pretty consistently, especially in this detachment. If it takes any damage, it's going to reroll 1s to hit. 4 las cannon shots hitting on 2s, reroll 1s can't be that bad, right? And yes, as I said, I am thoroughly addicted to driving Landraiders through walls and disembarking troops. So we're going to have Trajan Valoris and 4 Custodian Guard inside the Landraider, so they can jump out after it goes through a wall and just wreck something. So that's the big plan here. Other than that, we just got some Dreadnoughts on the list. The Telamon is a cool model, but I don't like his weapon options for shooting. I think maybe if you take him with a couple fists, he'd probably be pretty good. But I don't like any of his gun options. They're all just AP1. I don't know why he can't have anything better than AP1. He's a big old robot. Honestly, like a Redemptor, a Marine Redemptor Dreadnought shoots better and probably punches just as good. Maybe not quite as durable without the invuln that the Telamon has, but I don't know why it's just a bunch of AP1 shots for the Telamon. So I don't have him today. But what we do have, we'll get through the list here. For those of you who have forgotten what the Solar Spearhead does, Solar Spearhead, the Adeptus Custodes detachment, first of all, it gives all Custodes Dreadnoughts +2 to their move and +1 to advance and charge rolls. Quite honestly, this is a mistake. It should have been added to their data sheets. These Dreadnoughts only move 6 inches. It's kind of ridiculous when they can't go through walls. This should have been put into their data sheets. An 8-inch move is not egregious. It's not too far for a vehicle that has to go around walls and things. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't just fix the data sheet in general, but at least we have it in this detachment. And with a +1 to advance and charges, they do have an advance and charge strat that they can take advantage of. Other than that, the detachment rule, well, you can also make Dreadnoughts characters. So we're going to have a couple character Dreadnoughts so they can get enhancements today. And then the detachment rules, the actual full detachment rule is that when a vehicle is at full health, full strength, it is +2 to its OC. When it is below full strength, it rerolls 1s to hit. And if it's below half strength, it rerolls 1s to wound. So we're going to take a bunch of vehicles. We're not going to avoid all the competitive stuff, so we do have Kyria Draxus in here. who's going to be getting some wound rerolls from Custodian Guard buddies. We've got Trajan Valoris because I just think it's hilarious that once per game he gets 12 attacks, and I want to do that. We're going to run out there and smack something real hard. So let's go through the actual list here and talk about how everything's going to perform. All right, friends, this is exactly 2,000 points of Custodes in the Solar Spearhead detachment. So for characters, we have 4 characters. We do have Kyria Draxus. Kyria Draxus will be leading a unit of Custodian Guard. Kyria is great for 95 points. I've heard people say she's the best thing in the Custodes Codex. So for her abilities, if you don't know, in your command phase, you can roll a d6. On a 2-up, her unit cannot be targeted outside of 18 inches. If she rolls a 1, then her unit takes d3 mortal wounds. Next, if her model is leading a unit, each time that model and that unit makes an attack against non-Imperium Chaos, so basically against Xenos, add 1 to the hit roll. Her weapons and ballistic skill is 3-up, so helps her out. It doesn't really help the Custodes out much, and we're not playing against any Xenos today, but it can be useful sometimes. And of course, she can hop into transports with any unit that she attaches to that could go into that transport normally. Next, the reason you really take her here, guys, is because of the guns. She has 2 guns that can shoot. First of all, the little more boring one, she has Psychic Tempest. It's 18-inch range, 6 shots hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP 0, 2 damage. It is sustained hits 2, so it's a bunch of shots. Her other weapon is the Dire Singer, 18-inch range, also 4 attacks hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP 0, 2 damage. You don't care about the strength and AP because it's anti-infantry 4-up, devastating wounds. It's also assault, so her unit could advance. She could still shoot. The reason she's so juicy in Custodes is because if Custodian Guard unit is on an objective they control, they get full wound rerolls. They always reroll wound rolls of 1, but they get full rerolls to wound here. So that means Draxus can fish for wounds and fish for devastating wounds on that Dire Singer, meaning she can kick out a lot of devastating wounds. I've seen her go even into non-infantry units, and just with the wound rerolls, maybe get a couple 6s on the wound rerolls and do 4 dev wounds to a vehicle or something. So it's definitely very useful. And second, of course, once per game, Custodian Guard can just shoot twice. So the fact that she has the ability to shoot twice once per game, with all those great weapons, getting those wound rerolls is really solid. So she's going to be standing with some boys probably on the deployment zone objective, just staking that out so DG can't get there, and poking her head out and shooting that stuff in the midfield and doing a whole bunch of dev wounds, hopefully, to these 2-up armored Grey Knights. Moving on, next character, we do have Trajan Valoris. Trajan, in my opinion, is just a lot of fun because once per game, let's see here. Once per game, he can either, in the fight phase, either choose to have a 2-up invuln save, which is boring, or his axe can have 12 attacks. And his axe's profile is hitting on 2s, strength 10, AP 2, flat 3 damage. Of course, if he's going to be with Custodian Guard, which he is, he'll get some wound rerolls as well. And he just one time this game he's going to slap real hard. So he's going to be riding with some Custodian Guard inside the Landraider so they can just jump out and hit something real hard. It probably makes more sense to have him go with Wardens just so they can kind of help him stay alive. But if we do have to punch up with his strength 10 into something that's higher toughness, like something 10 or higher, we're going to get more consistent wounds with the Custodian Guard. So that's what he's going to be doing. His shooting profile is actually pretty decent too. The Eagle Scream, it's 2 attacks, strength 5, AP 2, flat 3 damage. So he does have a 3 damage shooting attack. And because he's with Custodian Guard once per game, they'll get to shoot twice with that. So it's pretty efficient. Moving on, we have 2 Dreadnought characters. So I do have a Galatis Dreadnought. So the Galatis Dreadnought, this is the Sword and Shield Dreadnought. I love the fact that these 2 Dreadnoughts just mirror the 2 loadouts of the Custodian Guard, either Sword and Shield or the Spear. I love that. So his special rule is that because he's got his shield, anytime a melee attack targets this model, subtract 1 from the wound roll. This is really strong, frustratingly so, because he is toughness 9, and this rule does not state that it has to be higher strength than his toughness. So that means anything that's a lower strength than his toughness is just wounding him on 6s, which can be kind of brutal. And of course, he does have a 4-up embalm because he's got that shield. His melee attack is fun. He does have a little twin-linked flamer on his sword there, so he can chuck out a couple wounds and shooting, I guess. But his melee weapon, the Gladys Warblade, is 8 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 8, AP 2, flat 3 damage. Because he's kind of durable, I'm going to give him the durability enhancement, the Augury uplink. He's just going to have a 5-up, feel no pain. It's going to make him a little extra durable. Our other character dreadnought is the Contemptor Achilles dreadnought. So the Achilles one is the one with a big old spear. So his ability is when he charges, or no, not when he charges. Kind of an interesting impact mortal rule here. So each time he's selected to fight, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of him and roll 1d6, adding 2 to the result if the model made a charge move this turn. So on a 4 to 5, the enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. On a 6-up, they suffer 3. This means that he still has the chance of doing some mortals, even if he didn't charge, just when he's selected to fight. So he can obviously stack this up with a nice tank shock, so give him some mortal wound impacts. And when he's selected to fight, if he's made a charge move, that means this is going to go off on a 2-up. The flat 3 will go off on a 4-up. So it's a pretty good... pretty consistent there, but you still get to do some mortals even if he didn't charge this turn. It's just going to need a 4-up to proc anything off. So that's fun. His weapon, the Dread Spear, is kind of fantastic. It's 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 12, AP 2, D6 plus 1 damage with Lance. I am giving him the enhancement that gives him plus 1 attack, strength, and damage. So yeah, he's going to be strength 13. So even toughness 12 stuff, he's going to be wounding on 2s on the charge. I don't think DJ has any toughness 12 stuff in his list today, but if I did run into something that was toughness 12, some Landraiders or something, we'd be able to wound him on 2s on the charge. And obviously giving that his damage D6 plus 1 going to D6 plus 2 just means it's going to be more consistent, especially when there's so much damage reduction in the game now. It's going to help him do a little bit more damage when he does get that charge off. So those are our characters. Moving on, for Battle Line, we do have 2 squads of Custodian Guard. So Custodian Guard, I've already kind of talked about. They got 2 rules. One is that they reroll 1s to wound. If they're on an objective that they control, they get full wound rerolls. And the other is that once per game, they can shoot twice. Neat. We talked to how that's going to benefit the characters they join. So one of these, I'm taking these guys WYSIWYGs. They're going to all be spears, except one squad is going to have the Vexilla, the banner that gives them extra OC. This is going to be Trajan's unit. So when they charge out of their Landraider, if they go after a unit that's on an objective, they'll be OC 3 each, meaning I should be able to take that objective. That way in the fight phase, they get the full wound rerolls. Because in the Custodian Guard, the Vexilla takes away the spear, and they just have the Misericordia, a much weaker close combat weapon. In the Wardens, it just doesn't take away any of the spear or the axe, or whichever one you take. Here it's kind of a downgrade, but I just want the extra OC, like I said, so we can proc off those wound rerolls for Trajan and the rest of the crew. Moving on, we got 2 of the Caladius Grav Tanks, guys. These are a pretty good anti-tank shooting unit, considering they're for 215 points. So defensively, they are toughness 11, and they have a 2-up armor, 5-up embalm, and they have 14 wounds. So 14 wounds is kind of a strong breakpoint for wounds. It's just a few more than that 12. It kind of makes them a little bit more difficult to chew through. Obviously, 2-up armor is good, and the 5-up embalm helps them against high AP stuff. Now, both of these are not WYSIWYG. We're going to be doing the Twin Arachnus Heavy Blaze Cannons today. I've got one of each on here, but we're using the Twin Arachnus Heavy Blaze Cannons. I found these guys used. I couldn't choose what turrets they had on top. So the Twin Arachnus Heavy Blaze Cannon, 4 shots, hits on 2s, strength 12, AP 3, D6 plus 2 damage, and twin linked. So that's 4 shots that hit very hard. And in addition to that, the abilities here, anytime he shoots at monsters and vehicles, they get lethal hits on the heavy blaze cannon. In addition to that, he's got a little twin bolt cannon that's called twin, but not actually twin linked for some reason. It's only 3 shots, strike 6, AP 1, 1 damage. Feels like that should be 2 damage, but oh well. Anyways, the Caladius is a pretty good shooting platform, especially because that Blaze Cannon is 48-inch range, so they do have a nice long range for punching at tanks and elite infantry. So we've got 2 of those today. I do have one of the Palace Gravitanks. I built my list and I had exactly 105 points left over, and these guys are exactly 105 points. I don't think they're very good. They're a cute little tank. It's about half the size of the Caladius. A little Forge-World tank. I think they were better in the previous edition because they were only 90 points, and it's just like a cheap little fast-moving unit can go out and score for you. They're a bit more expensive now. They're 105 points. So they do have a little 12-inch move. Defensively, they're toughness 8. They do have the 2-up armor and 5-up M-wall and only 9 wounds. Their ranged weapon is a twin Arachnus Blaze Cannon. It's 8 attacks. Strength 5, AP 1 damage. It is devastating wounds and twin linked. So he may be useful if DJ's got like one surviving model from a Grey Knight squad out there somewhere. They can cause a lot of problems with the uppy downy abilities. So he might be able to chew with those dev wounds, might be able to kill 1 or 2 models with that. His special ability is not that great. If he targets a unit that's below half strength, he gets +1 to wound. Okay, you're fishing for dev wounds anyway, so you don't really care about that. Moving on, but he's fun. It's a fun little model here. We'll get him around the table. We do have one more Dreadnought. We do have the Venerable Contemptor Dreadnought. The Venerable Contemptor's got a multi-melta and a power fist. His special rule is that he is a Necron. So the first time he's destroyed, you roll a d6 on a 2-up. He stands back up with d6 wounds remaining. Just means you get a little extra value out of him if he comes back to life. And it's kind of nice in this detachment, especially because if he dies and comes back, he's going to be proccing off the detachment rules where he gets reroll once to hit and wound because he'll probably be below half strength at that point. So we do have 2 squads of Witch Seekers. Want some girls out here for blocking out deep strikes and for going out and scoring. The Witch Seekers have flamers that are AP 0, so they're not going to hurt any Grey Knights. But they do have a scout move, so they can get out and score a little bit. And then finally, we do have, as I said, the Venerable Landraider. So the Custodes Landraider doesn't really have any options on it. You've got 4 shots from the Godhammer Las Cannons. There's a twin heavy bolter, and there's a Hunter Killer Missile and a Storm Bolter on. That's it. There's no options as to what you can switch anything out. The model's not exactly WYSIWYG. Obviously, it's painted black, guys. The gold one, I guess, is in the shop or something. But yeah, like I said, the Landraider benefits from being a Custodes unit by the fact that it gets a ballistic skill of 2 for all of its guns. So all those guns are hitting on 2s. If he takes any damage, then he's rerolling 1s to hit. That's really good. Sometimes, Landraiders will get tied up in combat. So then when they're shooting out of combat with big guns never tire, then at least they're hitting on 3s then, which is not too bad as opposed to, a regular Marine Landraider going from 3s to 4s. And as I said, in this detachment, he'll benefit from those rules because he's going to be hard to kill. So he'll probably spend at least 1 turn below full strength getting rerolling 1s to hit at the very least. Other than that, there is a stratagem in this detachment that allows me to drive a vehicle through a wall. It's just as I did with the Death Guard. I'm going to put Trajan Valoris and 4 Custodian Guard inside the Landraider. It will drive through a wall. They will disembark. They will charge and smack something really good. That's the plan for today. All right, guys, that's the list. All right, I guess this is my thing now. Landraiders through walls, disembark and charge. Let me know if there's any other detachments, any other armies I can do that in, because it sounds like a whole lot of fun. We'll see how it goes for the Custodes today. Other than that, again, like I said, the Landraider is kind of interesting in Custodes. It's still 240 points, but now it gets the 2-up ballistic skill, so maybe he'll do some damage. Just the amount of tank punching we have here is huge. Most of DJ's vehicles that he has are lower toughness because they're Grey Knights, but there are a lot of Knights in the meta right now, a lot of Death Guard with high toughness. So these will be, these will work really well for taking down the big targets. Now, we do have just a few infantry out on the table. We have DJ's got purifiers that we'll just drop in and delete an infantry squad. So we're going to try and keep them alive for a little while. I definitely want Kyria Draxus to do some work because her dev wounds, anti-infantry 4-up dev wounds is super valuable into an army that is all 2-up armor. So hopefully they get a chance to pop a few enemy units, a few models before they get taken out by some purifiers that'll just shred whatever infantry they look at. That's it. No big scary plans here today. Just trying to get some dreadnoughts in to punch a little bit, Landraiders through walls, Caladius grav tanks kind of blocking out and taking it fire lanes and shooting it down there and see if the Palace grab tank is worth the 105 points I pay for it. Follow me over to the battle report, guys. Let's check out these Custodes and see how they do. All right, have a good one.